มันกลัวแทรกกงคือถ้ามันกลัวประพฤติลายกตเมตเวอันตะตัวจังไรปีอย่างโนโดยมาเดินโยจาอย่างกาเมสุกามาสุภาลิกาโนโยโกทัวนาได้ประกอบล้วนเอาจวบจมเปียได้กามขนมกามจังไรให้เน่าเจียทัวทองเปียกเกี่ยมโมเจียทัวระบอบเนี่ยตรมเป่าไทยจันนิกาเจียทัวระบอบเปิดไทยจนอนาริยามันแมนเจียระบอบอารยบอกกเตอนาถสังเหตามันประกอบด้วยประโยชน์ลายโยจายังอัตตะกะละมาทานโยโกทัวนาได้ประกอบใส่ใจลมปากดอกคลวนตกเข้าเจียให้นอนอ้อยลมปากไก่ตัวเตอนาริยามันแมนเจียระบอบอารยบอกกเตอนาถสังเหตามันประกอบด้วยประโยชน์ลายเอเตข้าวพิกข้าวเวอุโภอันเตอนุปัตติมะไม่เชเมียปะเดปะเตียตถากเตนะอภิสัมโพธิจากโคการณัยเยนะการณัยอุปสัมมายะภัญญยะสัมโพธิยะนะเปียเนยะสังวัตเตมะเนียปิโคจังลายใส่ใจปฏิบัติเจียกันดามันเลียจลมได้อันตะทอจังลายปีอย่างนู้ไอได้ตถากตบันตราตั้งให้เจียใส่ใจปฏิบัติเวออ้อยกาปัญญาจากขอบในคือปราชญาเวออ้อยกาใส่ใจดังชาประกอบตัวแมงประพฤติเติตามไปใส่ใจสงบลงงอบตามไปใส่ใจตั้งจมปัวตามไปใส่ใจดังท้ายประไปตามไปใส่ใจรมลอดตรงกัตมาจะสาภิกขเวไม่เชเมียปะเดปะเตียตถากเตนะอภิสัมโพธิจากโคการณัยเยนะการณัยอุปสัมมายะภัญญยะสัมโพธิยะนะเปียเนยะสังวัตเตมะเนียปิโคจังหลายก็ใส่ใจปฏิบัติเจียกันตาแต่ตถากตบันตราตั้งให้เจียใส่ใจปฏิบัติเวออ้อยกาปัญญาจากก็เวออ้อยกาใส่ใจตั้งชาประกอบตัวแมงประพฤติเติดามไปใส่ใจสงบลงงอบตามไปใส่ใจตั้งจมปัวตามไปใส่ใจตั้งท้ายประไปตามไปใส่ใจลมลอดตกโลตาโดยมาดังอายเมวะอริยาอาทังกิเกาเมียโกอาทังกิกะเมียคือโคโทเจียเปล่าเมียนอ่องพรำไปดับประสานีไอหาวทาใส่ใจปฏิบัติเจียกันดาไซยะไทยแดงอาทังกิกะเมียโนโดยมาได้คลาสัมมาตันเทปราชญาโยเคยเตอสัมมาสังกัปเปาใส่ใจแตรเรเตอสัมมาเวียจาสัมได้เตอสัมมากัมมันเตาขางเงียเตอสัมมาอาชีวะเกยาจินจำชีวัตเตอสัมมาเวียเยโมเจียเยี่ยมเตอสัมมาสเตใส่ใจรลักเตอสัมมาสมาธิเกยยาต้องกอจันอ้อยนังเตออายังข่าวสาภิกขเวไม่เชเมียปะเดปะเตียตถากเตนะอภิสัมโพธิจากโคการณัยเยนะการณัยอุปสัมมายะภัญญยะสัมโพธิยะนะเปียเนยะสังวัตเตมะเนียปิโคจังหลายอาทังกิกะเมียในไอแต่เฮาทาใส่ใจปฏิบัติเจียกันตาแต่ตถากตบันตราตั้งให้เจียใส่ใจปฏิบัติเวออ้อยกาปัญญาจากขอเวออ้อยกาใส่ใจตั้งชาประกอบตัวแมงประพฤติเติตามไปใส่ใจงับลงงอบตามไปใส่ใจตั้งจมปัวตามไปใส่ใจตั้งท้ายประไปตามไปใส่ใจลมลอดตกอีกอย่างข้าวปานาภิกขเวตกทั้งอริยสัจจังเจียแต่ไปตกข้าเจริญไปตกข้าเจียที่ไปตกข้าวมารณำไปตกขังเศร้ากับปริเตวตกขะโตมานาสปายาสาไปตกข้าอัปไปเยสัมปโยโกตกข้าวไปเย
Honorable Mahasangha and greeting to all friends in Dhamma around the globe. I am Sophia Chok, live from Phnom Penh. Today, together with Sister Jenny Chim, today moderator for our Dhamma discussion. Welcome to the Dhammika Live Dhamma Sandhana program. Before we begin our discussion, I would like to inform that this program brought to you by the Dhammika Live Foundation, led by Venerable Master Soktivi, who currently now Ponte changed the location from Wat camera Potiram, based in Seattle already. He now based in Hawaii, and my apology if Ponte can let what is the name of the monastery at the moment, Ponte?
Just Wat Khmer Hawaii Buddharam Puthiram.
I see. Yeah, Wat Khmer Hawaii. So thank you, Ponte. So this program purposely aimed at propagating the Buddha teaching in both language, Khmer and English. The language shift interchangeably every Friday at 8 p.m. Cambodian time and 6 a.m. Seattle time. And given our master now reside in Hawaii, so it's a very early morning for Ponte at 3 a.m. So my gratitude to your participation with us tonight in Cambodia, but very early morning for you over there. So again, our main purpose is to disseminate the Buddhism locally and internationally, to bring the attention, the essence of the Buddha teaching that is applicable in daily life in society, and especially among the youth. To promote peaceful and mindful living through ethics, concentration, and wisdom. Today, we are very pleased that we are going to discuss the Santuṭṭhī or contentment, which is one of the highest blessing in Mangala Sutta. So we have a great honor today to have our Dhamma speaker, and I'm not sure Sister Jenny could fix her sound system because earlier she experienced a certain sound error. So let me see. She has not yet joined. So allow me to continue. So I would like to introduce our Dhamma speaker tonight. We have Ponte Kasapa Honkaimra and Ponte Soktivi joining us. So as some of you may already aware of of our Dhamma speaker, we will kindly introduce them. So welcome, Sister Jenny. Is it okay with your sound now? Oh, we cannot hear you still.
I think let tell her not to use the headphone. I think maybe something wrong with that. Just let her use only the computer directly.
Can you try again? We cannot hear you still. Sorry. Maybe let's fix
maybe phone
again.
Yeah, you can use phone.
So I will introduce the speaker, and hopefully your sound will be working afterward. So again, we have our Ponte Kasapa Honkaimra, who is the Executive Director of the International Cambodian Buddhist Center based in Sri Lanka. Ponte is also the meditation trainer. Ponte is the advisor of the Supreme Monk and Vipassana Turiya Buddhist Center in charge of Vipassana Turiya. For the Vipassana Turiya Buddhist Center in Udong of Cambodia. So my greeting and respect to Ponte for joining with us today. Next, I would like to introduce Ponte Soktivi. Ponte is the founder of the Dhammika Life Foundation, a non-for-profit organization aiming at promoting Buddha teaching. Ponte is leading and teaching Buddhism in English courses to help Dhamma friends to better understand not only the English terminologies but also the Buddha teaching. We are very grateful to be his students, as we have learned a great deal about Buddhism and a lot of Buddha teaching that we become more understanding of his teaching. So Ponte led his publication to some of you may know is the Dhamma terminology that cover the Khmer Pali, Romanized Pali, and Khmer and English. This publication have been very useful tool for many of us and other who try to understand the terminology and how best we can communicate, with other in the proper way when we're talking about the Dhamma. So currently, as we are aware earlier, Ponte is residing at Wat Khmer, Hawaii. Previously, Ponte residing at Wat Kamrat Pothiram based in Seattle. So now Ponte have settled in Hawaii. So I believe many lay people in Seattle would miss you a lot. So without further ado, I would like to begin our discussion. Again, our topic today is Santuṭṭhī or contentment. So my first question goes to Ponte Kassapa. If you kindly help to explain what does Santuṭṭhī or contentment mean, please Ponte, the floor to you.
Đôi lại sâu rồi ở trên rụp á, bập càng lại sâu.
Okay.
We cannot see your picture. Oh, now it's working, Ponte. So please.
Okay. May my respect to the Triple Gem and dear Venerable Sirs, especially Venerable Soktivi, my co-speaker, and the two moderators, and the technical team and friends in Dhamma around the globe. So, technically, the term Santuṭṭhī is directly translated as contentment. From into English, and I have witnessed the definition in Khmer, like be happy with what you have. So this is the definition you give the contentment. But when we dig deep, inside the scripture, the commentary of the Sutta Nipata, in which the Mangala Sutta is incorporated, the Paramatta Jyotika commentary, it demonstrates in different ways the definition of contentment or Santuṭṭhī. So if we break the term into two parts, there is San and there is Tuṭṭhī. So Tuṭṭhī means happiness, simply, technically, and Sang means like kinds of holy or wholeheartedly happy. But this is the direct translation from the English. But as I mentioned earlier, when we go to the scripture, in order to understand that, you need to break it into three contexts according to the scripture. One is in Pali, we call it Yatha Labha Santoso is one, and second one is Yatha Bala Santoso, and the third one is Yatha Sarupa Santoso. So the first one is Yatha Labha Santoso, mean the satisfactoriness in the way that you get the four the 4 requisites. It means that you train your mind to be happy in any way that you are offered, or you gain the 4 requisites as monk, like robe, food, lodging, and medicine. And in whatever you are getting, I mean, even it is bad, it is good, it is more or less, it is from the poor people, it is from the rich people. I mean, in either way, you must be happy at the way that you are getting. And the third one is, we call it yatha bala santo. So it's mean that when you are get sick, I mean, for example, if I always having hamburger or pizza every day, and or having kinds of food that or that is beneficial for my health. But when I am sick, I have I have to give those offerings to other monks who never have it, and I just get whatever is suitable for my health condition. So we call it yatha bala santoso. And the final one is yatha sarupa santoso, satisfactoriness of being sacrificed wherever you have to other monks. For example, like Venerable Saktivi, he is being offered by devotees good food or good robe or good lodging, I mean accommodation and medicine. So when he feel that, when he witnessed that some monks in a society or his roommates don't possess kinds of offering or gain, so he sacrificed whatever he has for the well-being of other monks. So from that context, the contentment has 3 dimensions. One is we learn to be happy in the way that we get the offerings, and the second one is we learn to give up whenever we are sick, or whenever we are don't want for the sake of others, is one thing. And the third one is we are ready to sacrifice when we feel that these offerings are suitable for others, or those monks are worthy of offering whatever we have. This is the definition of in the scripture in terms of contentment. I think that's all from me, Sister Josephine.
Thank you so much, Conte, for this explanation. Sister Jenny, I'm not sure if your sound is okay right now. I would like to test.
Sure. Can you?
Oh, yes, it's working. So yes, maybe I would hand the floor to you too.
Hello, everyone. Sorry about that. I had to switch over to my phone, so I think there might be some issues with my laptop.
Yes, great. So yeah, please.
Yeah, I don't want to interrupt the program, so I want to go ahead and just continue. I'd love to hear, Venerable Sokdevi, your thoughts on contentment.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Greeting from Hawaii. It's 3:24 a.m. in the morning, very early, and this is the first time since I moved into Hawaii and start to join the program again after a long break for myself. Been quite a busy time and a lot of works going on. So I'm so happy today to have a chance to join the LISO program again, to kind of greeting to everyone. And first of all, I would like to pay my homage to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, and my respect to Venerable Kaspa from Cambodia, and greeting Sister Jasper from Cambodia, and greeting Sister Jenny from Seattle. Yeah, so hope everybody is doing okay. And even it is quite early here in Hawaii, but I think I kind of get used to it already because we have the early morning, Dhamma class going on at the weekend, and also plus now is in Vasa, a rainy retreat for the monks. So we usually get up early in the morning, like 4 a.m. But now it's like 3 a.m. and I have to get up like 2:40 this morning. So I could go to bed maybe for just a few hours, but it doesn't matter. I feel, like I have slept enough already. I have, good energy to go. So anyway, let us continue our topic. It's such a very good topic today, and we could also learn this term Santuṭṭhī from the Mangala Sutta, which is on the verse 7. In the blessing number 24, we have Santuṭṭhī cha. In the verse 7, start from Garavo cha Nivado cha Santuṭṭhī cha Katanyuta Etam Mangalamuttaman. So these all are greatest blessings when one able to practice that in daily life. So one of them is the contentment, like Venerable Kassapa was saying, Santuṭṭhī. We can say there are two terms, Santa and Dosa, Dausa or Dosa. So Santa means self and Dausa means happy or satisfied. So overall it means one's satisfaction over something that one has, So we have to be satisfied with whatever we have. And in this literally, term, like Venerable Kassapa already mentioned, we can classify into three ways. In Mangala Sutta, also mentioned in detail about the three kinds of, the characteristic of Santosa. So I want to share with you the Pali terms in another way. I just would like to share the characteristic. One is Sakena Santosa, second is Santena Santosa, and third is Samena Santosa. So what it means here, Sakena Santosa, you are satisfied with whatever you have. This is the status of, a contentment. You are happy with whatever you have. You don't feel, unsatisfied. You don't feel disappointed. Even you don't get what you want, but you're still content with whatever you have right now. You don't feel jealous of others. You don't feel, like lower than other, and you compare yourself that you're supposed to gain something more than this. You just feel content with whatever you have. And this is the first status. And the second meaning is Santena Santosa, which means you are satisfied with whatever you can gain, with whatever you can earn, from your own ability. And the third one is Samena Santosa. So you are satisfied, even when something doesn't go the way you hope for it, something doesn't go the way you want it, yet you're still happy, yet you're still content with that, So this is the characteristic of contentment. So we can look over this, overview of the contentment, whether our mind have contentment or not. You can always check these three characteristics with your own mind. So sometimes if you lack of contentment, there can be greed, attachment, there can be envy and jealousy, happening. And there can be disappointment, which leads to stress and depression, if you don't feel satisfied with whatever you have. if you don't feel satisfied with whatever you gain, so a lot of time you look into the people's life, if people do not satisfy with themselves, with whatever they have, with whatever they can make, they can gain. So oftentimes people can stay in, a stressful situation, and those situations can make them feel crazy and feel, stressful and feel depressed. So that's just a piece of idea at the beginning. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ponte, for your elaboration on the term. And yes, as we said earlier, this is considered as one of the highest blessing according to Mangala Sutta. But can you also explain why Santuṭṭhī or contentment is considered as one of the highest blessing? Ponte TV, please, the floor to you.
Can you repeat the question?
I mean, we aware that this is one of the highest blessing in Mangala Sutta, but people may wonder why contentment would consider as the highest blessing.
Yeah, we can understand. I mean, we can raise a question. What's the difference between happiness or contentment? What's the difference between happiness and contentment? So contentment, the state of, also it is a state of happiness, but rather than more than just being happy, it's more important that we are content with ourselves, with whatever position we are in, with whatever situation we are in. Sometimes there can be sometimes there can be contentment without happiness too. For example, like you may hold a job that you're not hoping for, but yet you're still content with what you can do. You're still content with what you're having right now. So in Mangala Sutta, the Buddha said contentment is one of the greatest blessings. Here we can look at 2 points of view. Contentment here in the status of monkhood, in the status of monk's life. So when the Buddha used the word contentment in his teaching, we can also refer to in the status of monk's life. And on the other hand, also the contentment in the status of the lay life, lay people like you. So we have, almost similar situation, but let me talk about the contentment according to the way of the monk's life. So as a recluse, as a bhikkhus, one should always feel contentment with whatever one is doing, especially when we renounce the worldly life to become a monk, to live a life of righteousness, a life of serious practices, undertaking precept, trying to get away from attachment to worldly pleasures, and also try to stay away from attachment, worldly possession, and disturbances like the family life. That's why the monk's life is called, on the other hand, as the a homeless life. Not like homeless in the sense of in American society, but homeless here. The monk does not own any home, does not own any belongings, does not live a household life. That is why, in this sense, we call homeless life. So a recluse is anagarya, right? Anagarya. One does not owns a house, owns any property or land. Instead, the monks by himself, just wandering from one place to another, and does not have attachment toward whatever belonging or possession. That is why the monk's life is subject to let go of everything, and no matter how little the monk's life have to consume everything in his daily life, but he always feel content Sometimes even the monk go arms round and he doesn't get the food that he needs, that he wants, but yet he's still happy, you know, with whatever the lay people can offer to him. So he accept it and he consume of that offering, you know, without any complaint. So this is the monk's life that, you know, we supposed to be according to the teaching of the Buddha. So the monk lived a very humble life, a very simple life, you know. And what, on the other hand, we can take into consideration, you know, between these two terms. So I would like to just emphasize to the audience that contentment here, we can come up with the idea of, you know, the distinguish between the word wants and the word needs. So contentment is not something that, you know, we want something, we want to possess or we want to earn something, but instead we just, you know, be happy and content, you know, with whatever we have. And it is a need, it is a requirement, it is a necessity of life that we have to have, you know. So to that extent, to that limit, we're still content with that, you know. We're not upset, we're not disappointed if we don't get this or we don't get that. So that differentiate between the wants and needs. So overall contentment is just the need that we have to have, the necessity of life that we have to have. So in this regard, and according to the Mangala Sutta, if one has contentment, if one is content with whatever one has, with whatever one can gain, you know, according to one's ability and with whatever one ability, then one can stay happy, one can stay contented. So this is one of the great blessings, because if you are, you know, if you are just allow your desire to grow, to rise, it will never be ending. It's never be enough for, you know, desire. We call unlimited desire, endless desire. So in this life, you know, human nature, we are bound to desire for so many things, you know, boundless desire, limitless desire, craving, thirst, clinging, grasping, you know, all these terms always come up with our mind in every day of our life. In every moment, we always want something. We get something, and yet we want something else. You know, we get a new car, and maybe after sometimes we always want another new car, or we want another new city. You know, latest city. We get a phone. Maybe next year we want another new phone. You know, so it's endless desire. If we are running after, if we always chasing, you know, after materialism, so it will never be enough, you know. We will never be satisfied for the whole of our life if we just keep chasing after material things. So contentment is the mental state. It's a state of mind that is filled with satisfaction, that is filled with joy, which means no matter how much you have, no matter how you know, what you gain, you're still happy and content with that limit, you know, with that ability that you can be. So that is why the Buddha said it is one of the greatest blessings if you can feel content in yourself, and then you will need no more, you know, you will need no more. So to that extent, you are rich to that extent. That is why contentment becomes one of the greatest blessing in the Mangala Sutta. So that's just you know, a piece of my idea. Maybe Venerable Gaspar can add to that more.
Thank you, Pante. And yes, the term want versus need is very clear for us to understand, and also thank for sharing how this also quite relevant in monk lives, you know, to be to contend with what you know, we should need, not want. So I would like to turn to Pante Kassapa as well. If you have anything to add, like why contentment have been considered as one of the highest blessing in Mangala Sutta, please, Pante, the floor is yours.
Yeah. Thank you, sister. Before, you know, understanding the term or the question why it is very important for the or as considered as the blessing, first thing we have to understand is what is nirvana and how to pursue that nirvana. So the very important point we have to understand is when it comes to nirvana, it's not only about morality, it's not only about concentration, it's not only about wisdom or the Eightfold Path. Along with the Eightfold Path, there are many qualities. I call it in technical term is personality qualities or personality traits or personality attributes. You have to acquire, you have to develop, you have to cultivate along the way you practice Sila, Samadhi, Panya. So in Dhammadaya, the Sutta, in Majjhima Nikaya, Buddha appreciates, he compliments the monks who have, certain qualities. There are 4 qualities. One is Santuṭṭhī. So these qualities must be cultivated in order to reach nirvana. There are many qualities as monk, alpejjata, pureness of wishes, and then santuṭṭhita, contentment, salekkhata, effacement, and the final one is arousal energy, we call it viraramba. What I want to say, not only that, besides what I have been mentioning, there are many qualities that we have to cultivate. For example, kindness, compassion, generosity, and those qualities must be cultivated. So that is why the contentment is the great blessing considered in Mangala Sutta. But according to the Paramajotika commentary, the commentary of Mangala Sutta, or the commentary of the Sutta Nipata, because Sutta Nipata is, the Mangala Sutta is incorporated in Sutta Nipata. According to the commentary, it says that the reason that the contentment is considered is regarded as the blessing, as the Mangala Karana or the Mangala factor of the blessing factor, because it says very clearly, because it is attributed to the satisfactoriness, sufficient, gaining or sufficient collection, that you collect whatever you want, not everything in life. And then fewness of wishes, like we have a few, needs. And another one is it leads to this destruction of evilness or desire, because in Vatupama Sutta there is a defilement that we must eradicate. It is called, one is abhijja, avisama loba. It's mean that covetousness and unrighteous greed. As Venerable Soktivi said that when we have, the more we have, it leads to the greediness, that the Mahatma Gandhi said that the earth is big enough for human needs, but not for human greed. So in Buddhism, on the way to nirvana, we have to gradually, eradicate, bit by bit, the greediness. So that is why the contentment is very important. And the final one, the commentary says, contentment is the source or the cause for the blissfulness journey. You can be born a human again. You can be born as the gods or goddess. And the final one, it emphasizes that contentment is the bridge, is the way for nirvana. So that is why contentment is considered as the greatest blessing according to Buddhist perspective. And that is why in Dhammapada verse it says that Santuṭṭhī paramang dhanam. So contentment is the greatest wealth. So as Venerable Soktivi said, it makes you rich, not poor. So that's all from Sister Joseph here.
Thank you, Bante, for the wonderful definition and helping us understand a little bit more about what contentment is. You know, I like to consider that one of the reasons why it's a highest blessing is because it's one of the hardest to practice. And that leads up to my next question. In modern day with social media, a lot of people are constantly comparing themselves to other people. And that happens, social media, but it also happens in our day-to-day life. I know that I deal with that quite a bit, never knowing, what I desire is my own desire, or if it's a desire based on what other people want me to desire or what is best for me. It's hard to tune people out and listen to your own mind and thoughts. And sometimes it's like you just don't trust your own thoughts and opinions, maybe. So my next question is, how can we practice contentment, and how can we maintain it? I personally have reached a point in my life where I am contented being being a householder, being a stay-at-home mom. But sometimes when I again jump on social media and I see family and friends, being a stay-at-home mom, we've got to limit our resources a little bit. And so it's just like it's hard to sometimes to deal with those emotions or those feelings of wanting more when you constantly see that from other people. So Venerable Devi, why don't you go first? How can we maintain contentment?
First of all, we have to feel content first, right? Before you can maintain it, you have to feel content. And this content is not just acting, but we feel content from our own heart, our own mind, And to reach that stage of mind, it's not that easy, just like Jenny was saying, right? One of the greatest blessings. It's not easy to practice, not easy to train the mind to that stage, It needs great practice in order to feel content. It is a great skill. It is a great challenge, Not everybody has this contentment. So it needs accumulation, it needs practice. And when you have contentment, how can you maintain this good quality of the mind to stay, Because most of the time when we are not mindful, our mind tend to feel envious, tend to feel jealous of others, possession of others, prosperity, right? Most of the time, this is the nature of human anyway. It's the nature of our human mind, because we always look for something new. We always look of wanting more and more. It's never enough. If we always want, materialism, right? It will never be enough. Like when Bogaspat stating the Mahatma Gandhi, the world has enough for everyone's need, but not everyone's greed. So if we allow greed to rise, it will never be enough for whatever we want. And doesn't matter how much we gain, how much we earn, we still want more, right? We still want more and more. One after another, it will never be enough. So that's why contentment in this case plays very important role in order to suppress the greed, in order to suppress our desire for more, thirst, our craving, tanha. That's why tanha is the root cause of all kinds of problems in this world. When we desire, when we have endless craving, always thirst for more. So it will cause a lot of problems. It will cause a lot of suffering into our life. Then we can see the importance of contentment. But how can we preserve, how can we maintain this good quality of the mind to, to give rise each and every moment, or to consistently, process in the mind? So it's important to be mindful overall, whenever we're not mindful, the nature of the mind, especially of the worldly beings like Earth, who have not trained the mind to the stage of enlightenment. So we still bound to desire, most of the time, because we live in this, modern world where, materiality are very competitive. Everyone is chasing after something new, looking for something every moment of life. That is why it is so important to be mindful, to train our mind, to get used to mindfulness. And so that's why we will stay content most of the time when we are mindful. And also in some of the sutta that the Buddha teach the bhikkhu, like Pachavekana Viti, the monk always do this chanting. I think for their evening chanting or morning chanting, we always recite Yatha Pachayang Pavatamanang Dhatumatame Vetang, something like Padisangkayo Ajamaya Pachawekitwayang. So this is the recollection, the reflection for the monk's life, no matter how much you gain in terms of, the four requisite, right? The four requisite, the Buddha said the monk should take in moderation whatever they use. They should use it wisely. They should use it in moderation, not to arouse desire, but just for the sake of their living condition. Like, for example, when you're wearing the robe, so you make use of the robe not for pleasure, not for enjoyment, but it is only for the sake of your own protection from heat, from cold, from mosquitoes, from creeping insects or animals. So to protect yourself from sun, from snow, this is the purpose of using robes and clothes. In the same way, it applies to the lay life as well. When you use the clothes, daily consumption of your clothes, you should have the idea of moderation. Don't use the clothes just to be boastful for others, just to boast yourself, like, oh, I'm rich, I have a lot of good clothes, I have a lot of pricey clothes, brand, right? A good brand, very expensive brand clothes. Not for that purpose. So the purpose of using clothes just to protect yourself from, from shame or from, any kinds of protection. This is something this is the idea that one's supposed to use the clothes. So in the same way, when you use your food on a daily basis, not to attach to the taste, but you have to limit yourself. I take the food in order to sustain my life, to sustain this physical body, in order to be able to practice the holy life. So you're not eating for desire. You're not eating to arouse desire, to wanting more great taste from the food, but rather you just take it in moderation in order to sustain your life. And then in the same way, when the monks make use of the lodging, the dwelling place, we're using that only to protect ourselves from heat, from cold, from all kinds of danger that cause from season, that cause from insects or anything else, not to arouse desire, right? And on the other hand, when the monks take use of kilana, so when the monk take use of any medical, requirements or, medicine or soft drinks, it's not to arouse desire, but only to, reduce the suffering that one's face due to the feeling of thirst, due to the disease or illness. So this is according to the sutta that the Buddha taught to the monks, that monks should live the life of humbleness, should live the life of moderation. And in everyday life, the monks shouldn't, require for more. They only take to the limit of requirement. That's why we have the term four requisite, right? Pachai Bun, four requisite. These four are very necessity. It is necessity of life. The four basic requirements for everybody to live this life well. We only need these four basic requirements. That is clothing, fooding, dwelling or lodging, and then the treatment, right? The what do you say, medical requirements. So these are the 4 basic needs for every living beings in this universe, especially for human beings. So if we only live up to that limit, then we able to, not arouse our desire for more. And then most of the time we can maintain contentment, even though we don't have, like, if we compare to others, it will never be enough for desire, so we shouldn't compare to others as well. We just stay happy, we stay content with whatever you have in your own status as well. Like if we are monk, if you compare, oh, lay people, they having cars, they having, shiny clothes, they having good watch, they having good hair, like Jenny is having long hair. So if you compare yourself to the lay life status, then you will feel unhappy with your own status. So it's important to stay content with yourself, with your own status, with your own possession and ability, So that is the thing that I would like to share. Thank you.
Thank you, Venerable. Yeah, I think pulling it back and reminding ourselves of the 4 requisite would definitely be something that would be helpful, because I know that the fast fashion industry is something that's very toxic. I'm not sure if Montes are aware of what I'm talking about here, but how clothes are just simply made so quickly, and every season is something new, and we have to be in season, so we have to keep up with the trend too. And oftentimes that leads to that desire of just wanting to accumulate more and more and more clothing. And I know personally, I've been frustrated with the amount of clothing sometimes that I have, and now I am a lot more conscious and about how I not only like just checking my own thoughts and minds regarding my desire to purchase an item. Is it necessary? Is it because I'm trying to keep up with the trend, or is it because I need this for, a particular occasion, keeping myself warm or keeping myself, bug free. I like to go camping. So, having an excuse to go out and purchase something is kind of nice, but also just remembering myself, like, is it truly what I need? Could something else do it that I already have? But yeah, thank you for that reminder of the 4 requisite. Monte Kasapa, I'd like to hear your thoughts about, like, how can we maintain contentment in our daily lives?
Okay, thank you, sister. In order to maintain, you have to cultivate some, certain qualities. In Avijja Sutta, Buddha says that in order to, stay restrained or mindfully, stay mindful, stay concentrated, you have to, first thing is you have to associate with, the right people who talks, who practices how to be content. That is the first point elaborated in the sutta. Then you move to the second, that you have to listen, different talks about, about contentment as we are doing now. But the foremost point that we have to understand is restraint, as Venerable Soktivi elaborated. We call it in Pali Sangvara. You have to restrain yourself. But there are 5 types of restraints in Buddhism. First one, I'm sorry that I cannot, elaborate it in order, but let me say first one is, we call it Sila Sangvara. You have to restrain yourself in morality, like you have to observe 5 precepts or 8 precepts or 10 precepts. So it kinds of contentment, not to have dinner, not to use, perfume or kinds of stuff. That is the way we maintain, and we train ourselves to be content and to be satisfactory with whatever we have. And the second is, we call it Sati Sangvara. It's mindful restraint. You learn to be mindful always, and how to remain equanimous, how to remain non-reactive to the objects you absorb through your six senses, through the eyes, through the ear, any kinds of sound, that you to train yourself how to be equanimous, how to be non-reactive. That is the training. We call it, or we can say, senses restraint or mindful restraint. We call it sati samvara. And as Venerable Santuṭṭhī said, monks or anyone, must train to tolerate himself or herself, despite she or he is, being, scolded or insulted, or when he or she is in the hot weather or too cool weather. I mean, no matter what the situation is, no matter the circumstance is, he must remain, patient. We call it Contentment Santuṭṭhī, like restraint in tolerance, restraint in patience. You learn how to be patient. You learn how to tolerate your emotions. That is the way we maintain our contentment. And another one is, we call it Jnana Samvara, like you restrain through your comprehension. I call it spiritual intelligence. In Buddhism, we call it wisdom, jnana, knowledge. As Venerable Santuṭṭhī said, when you consume, when you use, when you have break, when you have lunch, when you have food, when you're using, your house, your accommodation, your car, using different dresses, or using medication, or nutrition, you have to spot on your intention. Why I am using this? I am using this to promote myself, or to tell the society that I am a rich person, or I am a better person. This is the question are needed to be raised when we are using those stuff. But when we use the spiritual intelligence, we have to heal ourselves, to convince ourselves that I am using all this, can be clothes or car or house or medicine or food, just for the survival, just for the survival, not just for any kinds of bad mentality, bad intention. So this is how we maintain our contentment on the daily basis. But I know it's tough from the householder's perspective, but this is the way we train. This is the way we maintain the contentment. So you have to do it, all the time, but you have to train bit by bit how to restrain yourself and remain content. That's all, Sister Jenny. Thank you very much for the question.
Thank you, Pante, for this elaboration. And I like the way how Sister Jenny linked with our daily life, with the in the modern time, with the growing of social media, a lot of people show off what they have, and it easily influence the way we think, why they have this, why not us, or so comparison, as well as the desire start to increase from these influences. But like Ponte have explained, how best we can maintain it, is through our wisdom, through our consideration, on the need, whether we need it, not just one. So I hope our audience can follow and hear how best we can maintain our contentment. I know that Ponte Gaspar, you earlier also mentioned that by contentment here, it would not lead us to be poor, but Ponte TV also highlight it will let us to be rich. So I would like to kind of provoke a further discussion here, that a lot of people would say that if with the contentment, it may lead us to be less productive or less passionate, because we may feel, okay, I would just need this, so I don't need to work hard. I don't have to upgrade myself. I have a phone here. I don't need to upgrade to new model, blah, blah. So people become less assertive and less passionate in their life. How would you see that argument? Do you agree with this, or disagree, or any thought, Ponte? The floor to you.
Thank you, sister. The answer is depends, but from Buddhist perspective, because we have many contexts when it comes to contentment, the first thing is the people raise such question are devoid of real understanding of the technical translation of the word Santuṭṭhī. It doesn't mean that it's just in terms of materiality, but in spirituality or in mentality, it is rich. And what I want to say that the sources, the resources we have, or any kinds of stuff we have, are the mental projection, are the mental production, are the mental creation. So when we create something with, unrighteous desire or unrighteous greediness, what happened to the Ukraine, you know what happened to the Russia, what happened to the world. And Sister Chospip is very expert on that. The United Nations, has been established with the aim of not letting the world have war again. But how many wars in the world now? How many wars in the world now continuously happen? So contentment is about, spiritually content with whatever you have, but mentally, not materially, because this is the word, this is the term that we misunderstand. Is one thing. And another thing is when we understand the term that contentment is about spiritual well-being, is about mental well-being, because human beings will be blinded, will be deluded when he is very tasty of the money. Because there is a story in Facebook, a girl asking his father that, father, how much you are paid for 1 hour? And the answer was $25 US. And the daughter asked the father, can I loan $25 from you? Can I borrow $25 from you? And the father said, for what? I said, no, just give me, because I want to hire you for 1 hour for being with me. So what I want to say is when the human beings understand the importance of contentment, his life become more productive. His life is becoming more fruitful in terms of spirituality, in terms of well-being, in terms of happiness. This is what we have to understand, because if you don't have kinds of happiness in life, what use of having a big house, many cars, many companies? What use of that? This is, we call it life productivity in terms of spirituality, not in terms of materiality. So that's all from me, Sister Chospip.
Thank you so much, Ponte, for sharing your thought on this argument. So, Ponte TV, do you have any thought, or agree or disagree, or how you think about this argument?
I want you to repeat the question again, so
Yes.
audience can
Sure.
stay focused with this question.
Yes, Ponte, there was a argument saying that, contentment can lead us to be less productive or less passionate in life, because, we just assume that, okay, that's it. We should not do much because we should enjoy what we have. So it may lead us to be less assertive in our life. So would you agree to this?
Less productive. The term productive, we have to talk from a different view. The world perspective of productive. What does it mean? The world productive. We're productive most of the time, always productive for desire, right? But in the concept of the Buddha, productive here is not for arousing more wanting, more desire, but productive in terms of spiritual development, mental development, or virtue development. So this would be the term productive. But in our human world, a world that is full of desire, we can say so. People always say life productivity, but worldly, literally meaning the productivity that everyone is seeking for is always, filled with desire for more materially, in terms of materiality, but not productivity in terms of spirituality or mental satisfaction, mental contentment, right? Contentment is a state of mental happiness. It is a state of being happy and satisfied with whatever situation you are in, So to that extent, does it sound productive? When you're happy with whatever you are in whichever situation you are in, does it sound productive to you? Sister John's
No, Pante.
No? Yeah. So you want more, right?
Yes.
Yeah. If you don't feel enough, of course you will want more. But when you get what you want, does it end your desire for more? You always want something more, right? So this is the world of productive. I just want to emphasize on the term, because sometimes we human beings live in this world of concept, world of term, world of terminology, and sometimes we get stuck in the idea of the term productive, be active, but for what reason you want that to be productive or to be active, So we should consider about what to and what not to. Basically, based on the teachings of the Buddha, I would like to raise one gatha, one verse from the Dhammapada. This has the story that the Buddha taught the King Pasenati. King Pasenati, he was picking out, the word pick out, Jenny, right? Pick out. He ate too much. King Pasenati, he ate too much. And so most of the time he cannot walk well, he cannot sit, he cannot sleep, because he ate too much. He pick out full of stomach. He ate a lot of food, So then he goes and complains to the Buddha. Oh, I cannot sit meditation. I just finished lunch, because he ate too much that he cannot sit properly. Even he want to lie down, but he cannot lie down because most of the time he eat a lot, So that the Buddha talk about the moderation in food, explain Pasenati, the King Pasenati, about the moderation, consumption in moderation, no matter how much you have in life, but you should be moderate. You should moderate, in taking use of that. That way you stay happy, you stay content. If you just use whatever you want, then you will not content. No matter how much you have, no matter what you have, you will not feel content. So he expound in that Dhammapada. It is in the Sukhavaka. In the Sukhavaka, he said, Aropya Paramalabha Santuṭṭhī Paramang Dhanang Visa Sa Paramanyati Nippanang Paramang Sukhang. So what it means here, Aropya Paramalabha, health is the greatest gain, it's the greatest gift, right? There is no any other gain greater than health. If you're healthy, then you get the best gift, you have the best gain, the best earn. So that's that the meaning of arogya paramalabha. And then he continue, Santuṭṭhī paramang dhanang. Santuṭṭhī paramang dhanang. Santuṭṭhī means feel happy with whatever one have, right? Paramang is greater. Dhanang is wealth, right? Dhanang is wealth. So he said contentment is the greatest wealth. So does it sound poor or rich, right? The Buddha said contentment is the best wealth, is the greatest wealth. If you have contentment, you will feel rich. You're not poor because you are content with what you have. So those who always want more because they are poor, right? They are poor. That's why they always want more. Just like when we say hungry ghost, peta, pride, right? Now it's getting close to Chumban, so we're gonna talk about pride again. So what's the cause of the person taking rebirth in the hungry ghost world? Because they had a lot of greed. Those who always desire for more, wanting for more and never enough. This is the cause that led to be reborn in the world of Beta, in the world of hungry ghosts. They always hunger. They always hungry for more, thirst for more. It's never be enough. To that extent, they are poor, So for those who always feel content with whatever they are in, so to that extent, she or he is rich, So this is not according to my idea. This is from the Buddha's word in the Dhammapada. You can check the Sukhavaka, Sukhavaka in the Dhammapada. The Buddha said, Santuṭṭhī paramang dhanang. So contentment is the greatest. The contentment is the greatest wealth. And then he continued, Visasa paramanyati. Faithfulness is the greatest relationship, right? Faithfulness or loyalty, fidelity, right? Is the greatest relationship. When you are loyal, when you're honest, so this is the greatest relationship. When you have honesty toward one another, so to that extent, you become the great, relative, right? So this is the third one, and the last one is Nippanang Paramang Sukhang. Nibbana is the greatest happiness. There is no any other happiness than Nibbana, because Nibbana is the state of, Nibbana is the state of detachment. Nibbana is the state of departure from wanting, from desire, from lust, from greed, from attachment, then from hate, and from delusion, ignorance. So that is why the Buddha said, Nibbanang paramang sukhang. There is no other blessing, there is no other happiness greater than the state of ultimate happiness, the state of calmness. Nibbana, in another term, the Buddha also used the word santi. So santi means tranquility, santi means calmness. When your mind is calm, so it will give rise to contentment, because you don't feel frustrated, you don't feel eager for more, wanting for more. So that is why it becomes the greatest contentment. It becomes the greatest happiness when you're able to feel content in whatever situation you are in whatever status you are in. You not feel jealous of other, you not feel comparing to others, low or higher. So yeah, that's just my what I want to say. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bantes, for this great explanation of contentment. I like to think that contentment is something that helps alleviate greed, which is one of the defilements that we try to detach ourselves from. And again, very difficult work, especially I think sometimes we say modern times, but in actuality, it's existed. It's part of human history. It's part of being human. It's to suffer from greed. But yeah, contentment is definitely something that, I mean, I have personally experienced it myself with, you know, I've realized, you know, being part of a millennial generation and the Gen Z, oftentimes we think about the climate crisis that we're experiencing in this generation, and we wonder how can we address it? How can we slow it down? If there even is a way of slowing down. And the more we think about it, the more stressed out we can be, the more anxiety, and that's not helpful at all to be so panicked about it. And sometimes it's crazy that contentment is a solution, right? I like to think that, you know, contentment helps me not consume so much. And when all of this excessive consumption is what leads to the climate crisis, whether it's consuming, you know, the clothes that we wear, you know, constantly making it, you know, we're constantly using resources to make our clothes, or
the cars, right?
Yeah, buying cars. You know, we need the new one every year. You know, it comes out, we want a new one. And so, you know, being content with what we already have, it makes you less desire the new in style things. And, you know, another trend that's on social media that I sometimes have to watch myself is people posting up food where they've eaten and like what they're making and what they're eating. And, you know, I love food. I could definitely relate to King Pasa, the king that you had mentioned about. Yeah, wanting to eat a lot. But once you realize like how it's not the greatest for you, it actually hinders from your practice. You know, it's easier then to let go once you realize how it's affecting you. And I think that's where mindfulness kind of plays in to contentment, is being mindful of how desire works within us and within our own minds and thoughts. So thank you for this wonderful discussion around it, because I think it's extremely practical and very useful to ponder and to think about throughout our days. Is wondering, is this something that I actually need, or is this something to I'm trying to show off or to satisfy this, you know, this human nature trait that we have. So how can we rise above it? So again, thank you so much. Thank you so much for Dhammaka Life for inviting me to partake in this discussion. I very much appreciate it. I know that one of the highest blessings is also to participate in Dhamma discussions and to listen to Dhamma talks in a timely manner. So I'm greatly grateful for this opportunity. But before we end our live show today, I'd like to share this merit from this Dhamma Sandhana with all living beings in the whole universe. May all be happy and peaceful. Once again, thank you so much to our honorable speakers for sharing with us today. And finally, I'd like to express my sincere thanks and gratitude to Dhammaka Life team, founder, directors, advisors, members, admins, and technical teams for providing such a wonderful support to make this program possible. And last but not least, thank you everyone for joining and following our live show as always. Let us spend a moment practicing Metta Bhavana, which is loving kindness meditation, which will be instructed by Bante Kasapa. And thank you so much and goodbye. Our meditation begins.
Hello everyone. Let us practice loving friendliness meditation for oneself. Self-loving friendliness meditation is the first section of Metta meditation. Self-loving friendliness meditation is designed to direct you
to happily take care of yourself, to honestly forgive yourself, to truly accept yourself without conditions. Before starting, please find a very comfortable posture. Close your eyes. Relax your head, your shoulders, your arms, and your entire body. Please slowly take a very deep breath 3 times. When it is done, let your breath flow as naturally as it does. Observe your breath without judgment, reactions, and criticism. Just merely observe it as the way it is while you are listening to my Pali Metta chanting. Aham Now, please create a very tender smile on your face. Visualize your happy and smiling face. You are a very happy person with smiling face. Please keep smiling with honest heart, because you are going to bless yourself. Please be aware of the phrases which I am going to recite, and let yourself honestly feel the real meanings of the phrases. May I be well and happy. May I be free from hatred. May I be free from ill will. May I be free from anger. May I be free from physical and mental sufferings. May I take care of myself happily. May I take care of myself happily. take care of myself happily. Now, take your right hand and place it on your chest, and you can mentally repeat after me. In this home, we are family. We live under the same shelter, so we must be kind to each other, be compassionate to each other, be friendly to each other, help each other, respect one another, be happy every day, keep smiling with honest heart, be grateful, be positive, forgive even when it's really hard. Before open your eyes, please take again a very deep breath 3 times. Thank you. May you be well and happy.